Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego here in the Panhandle, Florida. It's a minute or so before 11 p.m. Central Time, and as I promised, I would do a live stream for our friends in Africa, because in Africa, you guys are probably out and about, you're awake, you've eaten breakfast, and this is a more convenient time for you guys to hang out with us on the live stream. We appreciate you getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, other days of the week, but this show is for you guys. Nigeria, Chad, Sierra Leone, and Newfound says, "Hello, Mr. Diego. What's going on, Newfound? How are you?" Now today, look at all that Mountain Dew right there. See that right there? I don't know if you see that. I'm using my right finger, but we appreciate Larry treating us to Mountain Dew and a nice steak dinner. And Newfound, I have questions. Well, let's go, Newfound. Let's go with the questions. Vitor Saturnino. Hey, what's going on, Vitor? How are you? Where are you at? What part of the world are you in? Andrea Ortega. Hello, Diego and Karina. Andrea. Andrea, ¿por qué tú no en cama? Sí. ¿Tú no cansada? ¿No mucho trabajo hoy? Okay. Hola, Andrea. Chris and ML. Yes, I see him. And Vitor is in Fort Lauderdale. That's right. I remember. Look at all this Mountain Dew. Look. That's thanks to Larry. Larry hooked us up with some Mountain Dew today. And we went over his K1 visa application and all that jazz, and we helped him significantly. Andrea Ortega, sí, ya estamos acostados viéndolos un rato. Serious. Paula, salud Paula, ella y Nigeri. ¿Sí? Ok, no olvide. Andrea, ¿cuál es tu día? ¿Tu día bien hoy? Farah Andikan. Congratulations, Diego and Karina. So happy for you both after receiving info from the NBC that they gave the case. How long does it take to get a case number? Well, if the NBC have received it, they should have already sent it to you. What do you mean? The NBC sent you a welcome letter? Or did the USCIS say they sent it to the NBC? It doesn't take long to get the case number if the NBC have it. But if it depends, I mean, on which embassy, which country, it could take 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to get a case number from the NBC if USCIS has sent it to the NBC. Jeff Mantalk, hello, Diego. What's going on, Jeff? How are you? And Terrence Tembigbo, hello, Diego. Good to see you looking strong and healthy. Thank God. Whoa, yeah, we're strong. We got this. Suerte. Anyway, not like I work out or anything. Chris and Emma, 2 liters of Mountain Dew for you. Yeah, we got it. Andrea Ortega, me día muy bien. Y ustedes, sí, muy bien. Gracias, Andrea. Paula y ella ya duermen, sí. Mañana levantan muy temprano para el colegio, ¿sí? Farah Andikan, the NBC just said they have it, but didn't end the date yet. Okay, so you're just waiting on the data. Give them time, and they will send you a case number. Jeff Mantock, I got mine. It took 2 weeks. I got mine 2 weeks ago. Okay, Jeff, we have our interview on the February 22nd. Well, that's good news. February 22nd is just right around the corner, and it will be here before you know it. And then you will be done, and then you're on the next step. Newfound, I only sent Form 485 for my adjustment of status, not the work permit, not the travel permit. Now I want to know if I can send the form for work permit to Chicago so I can start working. Wait for your green card, Newfound. If you send in a work permit request now, you got to pay $410. If you had submitted it with the 485, it would have been free. You can submit your 485 with your EAD request and your advanced parole travel document, and it's free. But if you wait, if you send in the green card application without the work permit application, and then you decide you want to get the work permit application, you got to pay for it. So what I would do is just wait for your green card and then start work. Karina asked me the same question. Karina said, when can I start work? I said, when you get your green card. See? Okay. Patience. Victor, 4 months here. Yesterday, I received my work permit card, waiting for my green card to be approved. There you go, Victor. And welcome to the United States of America. We're glad you're here. We hope you like Fort Lauderdale. Caroline Fernandez. ¿Es tu amiga?
No.
Okay. ¿Sí o no?
No.
Ahora sí.
Pero de Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Necesita...
Hola, buenas noches. Soy de Venezuela. Tengo una pregunta. Okay, you got a question. Para la señora Karina, el certificado de soltería la saco notaría. Sí. She got she did that. She got a singleness letter and got it notarized, but she didn't need it. The immigration, the embassy in Bogota didn't ask her for that particular letter. So she kept it. But she did. You get it. You get the certificado de soltería, and then you get it notarized in Bogota or wherever. But they didn't ask her for it. But I would get it and bring it to the embassy interview just in case they ask you for it. Get it notarized. She got it notarized in Bogota. It's very easy. Let me see. New file. I want to make sure we didn't miss anybody. O la planilla de registro principal normal. No, get it notarized. But they may not even ask you for it. Caroline, what country? ¿Qué día? ¿Cuándo tú vivías? In Colombia? Jeff Mantock, just a heads up, the embassy in the Dominican Republic recommends that both parties be at the interview. Okay, that's a good idea. And I recommend that you accompany your beneficiary to the United States of America through the Border Patrol checkpoint, so the Border Patrol can see you, Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, with your beneficiary. Chris and Emil, hey, which is state that fiance will come in port entry? I live in Mississippi. I was trying to see if they can maybe meet her before she lands at the port of entry. I was considering maybe stay the night there one night. Well, Mississippi is a big state, so she's going to fly into probably I don't even know. I can't remember what country. But if she's going to fly to Mississippi, she's going to probably get a flight connection change from her country. So she's going to land in a big municipal, in an international airport first. She's going to go through the Border Patrol checkpoint at the airport. And then, once she gets through that, then she's going to get a connecting flight to Mississippi, right? That's what I'm thinking. Norfal, in the website, it says processing time for adjustment of status is 18.5, what's that, minutes, weeks, months? But actually, is that accurate? No, it's not accurate at all. It takes like 4 to 6 to 8 months to get your green card in Chicago. Terrence Tam Bigbor, I just got this from NBC, but I don't know what it's meant for my fiance visa interview. So it says select visa priority, and the option was 221G regular. So which one do I select? Well, if you're on a K1 visa, the NVC, they have got nothing to do with anything other than giving you a case number and mailing your visa package to the embassy. They're confusing you with a spousal visa, probably. It's meant for my fiance in visa interview. So it says select visa priority. And the option was 221G and regular. Well, I've never heard of such a thing. I mean, the NVC's got nothing to do with visa interviews. That's only for spousal visas. So reread it, and you don't want a 221G. You want to just do the regular, in my opinion. But I'm not an immigration attorney, okay? I'm not giving you legal advice here. I'm just saying the NVC's got nothing to do with scheduling visa interviews for K1s. That's the embassy and or the sponsor that or the beneficiary that does that. So I don't know what you're looking at there, Terrence. And Neufeld is not taking 18 and a half months to process green cards in Chicago. Farah Andikan, for how long can an embassy pause K1 submissions? The Pakistan embassy has been on freeze for over 3 months. Well, they can do it as long as they want to. There's no, it's up to the ambassador. The ambassador that runs the embassy can put a freeze on receiving K1 visa applications for as long as he wants. The embassy in Bogota, Colombia in July of 2023 put a freeze on accepting K1 visa applications for the whole month of July. So, I mean, it's up to the ambassador, and it depends on the workload of the embassy. So it sounds like the U.S. Embassy in Pakistan is busy. Let's see here. So it's up to the ambassador, Farah. Jeff, man talk. Yes, I plan on going back a few weeks after the interview. Bring her back. Okay, Jeff, that's a good idea. Accompany your beneficiary into the United States through the Border Patrol checkpoint. Okay. Terrence, I selected regular and it says interview not scheduled yet. The MVC doesn't schedule interviews for K1 visas. They process case numbers and they coordinate with the embassy to ship your visa package to the embassy in the country. And you said visa interview not available yet. So you could be in U.S. travel docs. If you're in U.S. travel docs, that's where you schedule the visa interview. You as a sponsor or your beneficiary, not the MVC. They got nothing to do with visa interviews except for spousal visas. Sharon Denise Persekian, hola Karina and Diego. Sharon, what's going on, Sharon? It's late here. It's 9 minutes past 11 p.m. Excuse me. So it must be past midnight Eastern time in Miami, New York. And in California, it's probably about 11, 10, 8, 7 p.m., something like that. So we're doing a late show for folks who are in Africa. It's 9 p.m. here in California. Okay, I was close. I was off by 2 hours. So and Sharon says it's 9 o'clock here in California. So this live stream is a little bit easier for you guys who are out west in in Mountain Time, Pacific Time, and for our friends in Africa who usually have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to join us on the live stream. So I'm glad this is a good opportunity for everybody to get on board at a time that's more agreeable to you guys. You know, so we're good. We went and met Larry today, and he bought us a steak dinner because of all the help I gave him on his K1 visa, and he also gave us a bunch of Mountain Dew. Sharon, I booked my fiance trip to the USA today. I booked my fiance's trip to the USA. Well, there you go. Good job, Sharon Denise Persekian. That is excellent news. Chris and Emma, I know port entry is San Francisco. Okay, so San Francisco. But which one you prefer for port checkpoint? I was going to fly there, port of entry, meet her at the airport, walk with her for the CBI if I'm right. You cannot go to be with her. You cannot pass through immigration. If you are at San Francisco International Airport waiting for your beneficiary, you got to wait outside in the lobby and wait for her to go through immigration, clear the immigration checkpoint, and then she will then go find her luggage on the rotisserie, and that's where you can probably meet her. All right? Or maybe even beyond that point. She has to leave the immigration checkpoint in order for you to meet her. Okay? You can't cut through immigration. They won't let you go through immigration unless you got a plane ticket. All right? So if you're going to meet your beneficiary at the airport, you're going to have to wait for him or her outside after they pick up their luggage and get through the immigration checkpoint. And Sharon says, mine is coming into SFO, San Francisco. Is that San Francisco? So everybody's flying to the West Coast. That's cool. The weather here on the East Coast is nice. Sharon said, yeah, that's great. So San Francisco, I've never been to San Francisco, But it's got a fantastic. The Golden Gate Bridge is a beautiful bridge. You know, I've seen on YouTube shows, and you got great restaurants, a lot of good food out in San Francisco. And Chris and Emil, that's what I need to get a plane ticket to fly there. Okay, go to your beneficiary's home country. Okay, meet her up, spend a couple of weeks with her, and bring her to the United States, or bring him to the United States. I accompanied Karina from Bogota, Colombia to Miami. We went through the checkpoint in Miami. Now remember, guys, this is a positive channel. We don't do anything negative on this channel. Everybody's here is trying to maintain a positive attitude as we go through this process. So let's keep it positive, guys, so that everybody, when they get done with the live stream, they're going to go to bed, or whatever they're going to do with a happy feeling. And let's see here. We're all doing good here now. There's Larry's online. Larry got it. He hooked us up with all this Mountain Dew today. And we thank Larry for the Mountain Dew and for the excellent dinner. And we're going to help Larry get his K1 visa. His beautiful prometida is in Thailand. So we're going to help him get her to the United States with this K1 visa process. So we're doing a late show, okay? Because there's folks in California, it's a better time for people in California, and it's definitely a better time for folks who are in Africa, who join us like 4:00 in the morning. So the weather was good today. It was kind of it wasn't cold, it wasn't hot. It rained a little bit, but the Gulf of Mexico is cold and the air was warm. So we got a lot of fog on the streets today because of the difference between the air temperature of the Gulf of Mexico and the warm air in the in the air. So that's why we got the fog, and that's normal for this time of the year in the Panhandle of Florida. But when the Gulf of Mexico gets nice and hot at nighttime, it will cool down, and then we'll get fog again, because the Gulf of Mexico is going to be warm, mixing with the cooler air, which creates the fog. So drive carefully, guys. I think San Francisco has the same issues with fog in the evening time. Now, once you get your green card, guys and ladies and gentlemen, you really need to focus on becoming a U.S. citizen. If you want to get rid of all this immigration paperwork, if you're sick and tired of immigration paperwork, sick and tired of it, become a citizen of this country, of this republic, okay? And then you're done with all the immigration paperwork, all right? Now, to become a U.S. citizen, you got to stay out of trouble. If you're a legal permanent resident of the United States, you got to pay your taxes. You got to stay out of trouble, and that's the secret. Stay out of trouble, pay your taxes, and don't leave the country. If you leave the United States, let's suppose you got your green card and you go out, you take a 6-month vacation, and you fly back to your home country where you used to live. Now, remember, the United States is now your home. This is where you're going to live. This is where the immigration officer expects you to become Americanized and make this your home and become a permanent resident. But if you leave the United States for, let's say, for 6 months, and you go back to Australia and spend time with your family in Australia, when you go to apply for U.S. citizenship, okay, there's going to be an issue with immigration if you spent 6 months or longer outside of the country. Okay, when you get to America, stay in America, get your U.S. citizenship, then you could go travel. That's my opinion. All right, that's just my humble opinion. If you become a legal permanent resident, make sure you pay your taxes. Okay, and make sure your taxes are filed jointly with your American citizen sponsor. So when you go to lift the conditions on your 2-year green card, you're going to have to provide USCIS or the immigration with your tax returns for 3 years, the hard copies and the transcripts. And you got to have your name, Mr. Beneficiary, on at least 2 years worth of tax transcripts. joined with your American citizen husband or wife. And Sharon Denise Persikian, a small vacation in Nigeria, okay, absolutely. 2 weeks, 3-week vacation is no problem. The problem arises when you you hit your beneficiary, he or she goes back home to her home country, and the family says, "Oh, you got to stay. We missed you so much. You got to stay. You got to stay." And then you end up staying 6 or 7 months, and then then I doubt if you'll get approved for citizenship if you go to apply. Immigration don't like that. They want to see you becoming an American. All right. They want to see you becoming a U.S. citizen and living and building your life here. If you want to go home to your home country, go for a bit vacation. That's fine. But don't stay longer than 6 months. Even 5 months looks bad. Let me see. Sharon Denise Persikian, my fiance's family want me to move here permanently. I can understand that. Karina's family wanted me to live in Colombia. All right. I don't want to live there. I want to live here. I'm an American, and Karina's going to become an American, and she wants to live here. Chris and Emma, port of entry in New Orleans or San Francisco? Well, New Orleans is like 10 feet below sea level, and in the summer they have a tendency to get hurricanes, which could close the airport. So it depends when you're traveling. San Francisco has a tendency for earthquakes, which could close the airport, but they're not as common. But either airport's fine. I mean, for immigration, either one, San Francisco or New Orleans, either one's good. You just got to check the weather in New Orleans. You don't want to be flying. You don't want to be booking plane tickets, and there's a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico because you don't know where the hurricane's going to hit. And it could hit here or it could hit New Orleans. You don't know. So just if you're traveling in the summer to the United States, to the Gulf, to the Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi area, check the weather before you book your plane tickets. Which one is the best? Either one. They're both good airports. Sharon, you read it wrong. They want to move here to the USA. So her family want to move to the United States permanently. Your fiance's family want to live in the United States permanently. Well, you could probably bring the mom over once she becomes a U.S. citizen, or when he becomes a U.S. citizen. Mom can come, but brothers and sisters, there's like a 15-year waiting list. Like Karina's got all beautiful family, lots of brothers, okay, and sisters in Venezuela, Brazil, Colombia. If I was to file a family petition for one of her brothers, it would take 15 years to get him here. Let me see. Sharon, no parents, only sisters. Okay, well, if you can file for a green card family visa for the parents, but it will take probably a year, maybe 2 years for that to happen. But you'd have to wait until your new husband becomes a U.S. citizen. Just my opinion. It's a lot easier once he's a citizen and you're a citizen to bring mom and dad over. Okay, but brothers and sisters, it's a 15-year wait. He has no parents; they passed away. So he wants to bring his sister over. His sisters. It would take. Okay, no parents, only sisters. Okay, so it will take 15 years to bring the sisters over. If your future husband becomes U.S. citizen and wants to file for his sisters, it will take about 15 years to get them a look at for adjudication for a green card. It's a long time. Okay, it's a long time. 10 years will be the quickest, but 15 years is the average. Okay, for sisters. Parents, different. Mom and dad, different situation. Sisters, brothers, cousins, they're family, but they don't get a high priority for green cards. Okay. So I understand, Sharon, now what you're telling me. They want, that's seriously a long time. It is. It's a long time. So if Karina wanted to bring her brothers to the USA, it would take 15 years to get them a green card. Keesu Agnes, hello Diego and Karina, I'm live from Uganda, Africa. Keesu, is this a better time for you for a live stream that you are in Africa, right, in Uganda? This is a better time for you. What time is it for you now? What? Is it about 9 o'clock in the morning, something like that? I need, you can tell me, right? Sharon, it will take a long time, even if it would get approved, to bring sisters over to the United States. It's a long process. It took 2 years, right, for you guys, year and a half. So, it is what it is, unfortunately. It's just the way. Let me explain it to you this way. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, okay, or if you're going through a K-1 visa process, there is no limit to the number of visas that are available. They're infinite. Okay. So Karina is considered a family member, and now we're married, obviously, but when she was going through the K-1 visa, there was no limit on the number of K-1 visas that are available to American citizens who are sponsoring their fiancés. But for family members like sisters and brothers, there's a limit of the number of green cards that can be issued per year. Okay, there's a limit. So what does that limit do? That limit puts brothers and sisters in a holding pattern for like 10 or 15 years. The average is 15 years. And Keeso, yes, it's 8:23 a.m. in Uganda. So that's a much better time, right? It's a lot easier for you now to hang out with us on the live stream and ask me questions. So make sure you ask me all the questions you can, because I'm going to do this live stream for an hour, okay, for another 40 minutes. And then we're going to go and watch a movie. So I'm glad that the time is good for you, Keesu. And you asked me questions about New Orleans and stuff. New Orleans or San Francisco, either one of those airports are good. Jay Baxter, could you apply for a parent and have them apply for your brother or sister, their child? Would that be faster? No. If you can apply for a parent, and the parent gets here, right? It takes about a year and a half, maybe somewhere like that. And then the parent wants to apply for the son or daughter to come over. You're talking 8 years. It would be a little bit faster, I'm sure. But immigration will take a hard look at it. But you got to remember, there are only a limited number of green cards available for family members. So it would be considered a family member of a parent. Okay. It's a long wait. It's not an easy process. Elliot, hi Diego and Karina. We received our NOA2 January 9th. Okay. When do you think it is a good time to reach out to the NVC to get a welcome letter? Fiance is from Colombia. Wait for about 45, 50 days and then send an inquiry to the NVC. Okay. That will then automatically extend your NOA2 letter. So if you look at your NOA2 letter, it says it expires in 4 months, right? And then below the name on the NOA2 letter, below your beneficiary's name, is an alien number. That's the alien number that you're going to use for the form I-134, Declaration of Financial Support. That's the alien number you're going to put on the green card application paperwork. All right. So make sure you don't lose the NOA2 letter, and make a copy and send it to your beneficiary, or better yet, bring it to her personally. I flew from Florida to Bogota, Colombia with the NOA2 letter, with the Declaration of Financial Support, with the tax returns, the tax transcripts, all that jazz. Okay, I brought it in my carry-on and gave it to Karina. Here's the I-134. I'd signed it. Okay, just as an example. Actually, I signed it in Colombia. So wait about 45 days, Elliot, 50 days, and then send an NVC inquiry. But you might hear from them before that, because they're getting a little faster. Things are speeding up. Michael, we are waiting on our interview. Once she is here, how long would it take to get her 25-year-old son here? Well, her son is past the age of of a K2. Her son is 25. He doesn't qualify for a K2 visa. So it could take maybe, you'd have to file for a family visa. So it could take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. There's a limit on for that. But because he's a son, it may be 5 or 6 years. But he's past the age to qualify for the K2. Okay? It's a long time. KSO Agnes, I paid for my visa fee, but it's not reflected on my status. And I can't schedule for my visa interview. It's been over a month. Well, I think probably because the embassy doesn't have a position available. They don't have a slot. They don't have a day available for you to schedule a visa interview. And waiting for a month or so is not really a very long time. So what you need to do is keep checking back and looking for an open spot. Are you sure that they took your when you paid for the visa interview, for the visa process? Did you get a MRF receipt? Did you get a receipt for payment? And Caroline, she sent a message and then deleted it, so I can't read it. Caroline, repeat the message so I can read it to everybody. Let me see. So yeah, Michael, it takes a while. It takes a while to get a son. Okay, K1s and spousal visas are the two ways to go, the quickest routes. Okay, and K2, you got to be 20 years or younger. If you're 21 years old, if you turn 21, yeah, family visa is 31 months, but it's longer than that. It takes longer than that. Okay, that's for mom and dad. For brothers and sisters, it's different. It's longer. It's 15 years, 10, 15 years to bring a brother or a sister to the USA. For a family member like a mom or a dad, it's like 3 years, 2 to 3 years. So good, but it's a good post, Chris and Emma. You're interacting with everybody and helping people get through this visa process. Ren S, how long does USCIS California take to send my approved I-129 to the MVC? Well, they put all the approved K1 visas on a shelf, and when they get a big collection of them, they put them in a crate and they ship them to the MVC. And they ship them every 2 weeks in big crates. So it shouldn't take longer than 3 months at the most. Hopefully 2 months. Okay? But 3 months is probably the max you're going to have to wait. It took 119 days for the USCIS to send our K1 visa package to the MVC. It's 119 days. It's almost 4 months. But, that was back in 2022, 2023, that time frame, that fiscal year, where things were going a lot slower. Things are getting much faster now. USCIS there was a gentleman from Sweden that got his entire process wrapped up in under a year. And I'm going to make a video about his processing time. I'll make the video tomorrow. I'll make the video tomorrow from the gentleman whose K1 visa got approved in Stockholm, Sweden. It was quick. It was pretty quick for as far as K1 visas go. And Sug Z, hello, David. My fiance. Well, who's David? David? Hello, David. My fiance sent the email to receive the Interpol certificate. How soon should they confirm that they received the email? They just send the certificate when it's ready. Well, what country are we talking about here? Which country? Because I don't know. In Colombia, it took 4 weeks to get the Interpol police certificate in Colombia. In Colombia, 4 weeks. So I don't know which country. Sam Badella. Hi, Diego. What's going on, Sam? But where are you at? What country do you live in? Ren S. The embassy that my fiance case is in Ghana, Africa, wants the MVC contacts them. The embassy that my fiance case is Ghana, Africa. Okay, Ren S. What's the question? Sugzi. Okay. Yes, Bogota. So the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to get the Interpol police certificate from the Interpol Police Department in downtown Bogota. Okay. You can go down there and face to face with them if you want. Like Karina, she went there, knocked on the door. Hey, where's my Interpol police certificate? I want to talk to the boss. She's talking to the colonel in charge of Interpol in Bogota. You know, she's like, where's my Interpol police certificate? We've been waiting. Yeah, we've been waiting because Karina's also a foreigner living in Colombia. She's Venezuelan living in Colombia. And she's like, hey, my passport's in the embassy with an approved K1. I can't do anything without it, without this police certificate. They won't give me my passport back without the Interpol. And it took 4 weeks. And then they emailed it to her. And then Karina emailed it to me. And then I emailed it to the embassy. And then in 2 days, she had her K1 visa and her passport. 2 days, right, Dostia? 2 days. Let me see. Samba's in Gambia. And let me see. Elliot, while I'm waiting for MVC welcome letter, should I get started on the I-134? Well, I would wait until you get the, you can, yeah. The I-134 is good, I think, right through 2026. So you can start working on the I-134. You got time. It doesn't expire for a long time, so you're good. KSO Agnes, yes, I received a receipt after payment. Print that receipt. And I received an email from the embassy requesting me to attach a copy, which I did. Very good. And you got to keep a copy of that MERV receipt, but it seems like the embassy already have it. So now the embassy has got proof that you paid for the visa processing. And don't forget the DS-160. It's a free form. Okay, you are not paying for the DS-160. That's a free form. You are paying for the processing of the K1 visa into the passport. So Kieso, make sure you print a copy of the MERV receipt, because even though the embassy said they requested it, okay, make a copy for yourself and bring it to the visa interview, because they may lose it. Okay, Karina, when she went to her visa interview, she had the receipt of payment for the K1 visa in her hand, in her documents, along with all the other stuff, the I-134, the tax transcripts, the tax documents, the pay stubs, my pay stubs, bank statements, the letter, you know, from my boss saying I work for him, and all that jazz. Have 2 separate files. When you go to the visa interview, you're going to have 2 separate files. One is all your financial stuff, and the other is going to be your civil documents, divorce decrees, birth certificates, passports, stuff like that. Ren S, do you mean I must wait 3 months just for California Service Center to send my I-129 to the MVC before MVC sends me a case number or welcome letter? It could be 3 months. It was 4 months for me, but things are speeding up right now. So it might be in 2 months. It could be in 6 weeks. Okay. It all depends on how busy everybody is. This whole process is all based around how busy the embassies are, how busy USCIS is in California, Texas, Nebraska, and what's going on, and how busy is the National Visa Center, which is in New Hampshire. Elliot, I wanted to accompany my fiance to the medical exam and interview. In your opinion, how long shall I plan to be in Colombia to complete this process after getting an interview date? Probably 10 days, 2 weeks max. You're going to have to go take her to the I took Karina to the medical exam. It's on the 9th floor of the medical office in downtown Bogota. The 9th floor, Nueve Pisa. Okay, it's on the 9th floor. Right, and I sat with her for that, and then I took her to the biometrics, and then I got kicked out of the biometrics because they said I was, you know, not a beneficiary getting the biometrics. And I said, you just leave. You can't be here. So I sat with the Colombians waiting for their visas to go to Australia. Right here is where the visas for Australia are. And over here was the visas for the United States. So I sat with the Colombians who want to go to Australia. And then this Colombian security guard comes over to me and tells me in Spanish, what am I doing? I said, I'm sitting down. What do you think I'm doing? You can't see what I'm doing. I'm sitting down. Are you going to Australia? No, I'm an American waiting on my beautiful Prometida who's going to the United States. And I'm sitting here and waiting for her. Well, you can't sit here. And I said, why can't I sit here? Because this is for people going to Australia. I said, where does it say I can't sit here? There's no sign that says this is for people going to Australia. So I kept sitting there. And then he got, I said, oh, whatever, dude. And then Karina came out of her biometrics with her biometrics done. And she's waving at me. And then the security guard looks at Karina. He looks at me. And he puts his tail between his legs and walks away. So anyway, that was that. So that, so you get the biometrics done. You're going to get the medical exam done. And then go to the visa interview. And then you got to wait for the visa to get put in the passport. So I would say 2 weeks is the max that you need to be in Bogota, okay? And Rain S says, my fiance lives in Accra, Ghana. And Elliot, you can accompany your fiance to the medical exam. You can take her to the biometrics, but you just can't hang out in the biometrics. And you can take her to the visa interview and stand with her. It's just the folks at the biometrics that were being, high and mighty. But I didn't worry about it. And I could speak Spanish. So, I just told them to go play in the sand somewhere. Let me see here. Ren asked, do I have to upload the I-134 Declaration of Financial Support when I fill out the DS-160? No. You upload 0 documents, okay? And the only document you submit to the embassy via automated means is the DS-160. You're going to fill out the I-134. You're going to sign it and date it as the sponsor. Your beneficiary does not sign the I-134. Your beneficiary doesn't touch the I-134. You fill it out. You give it to your beneficiary, and he or she will hand carry it to the visa interview and hand it to the immigration officer. You don't upload it. Julian ALO. Hello, Diego. This is Julian again from Uganda, Kampala. How are you? Julian, we've been waiting for you. I ran the live stream for you because it's a much better time. What is it like? Around 8:30, 9 o'clock, somewhere in there in Uganda, right? Sam Badella, does Gambia need Interpol police certificate? You only need an Interpol police certificate, okay, based on our experiences if you are a foreign national living in another country. Karina's from Venezuela. She's been living in Colombia. She was living in Colombia for 5.5, almost 6 years. Because she was a foreign national living in Colombia, they wanted an Interpol police certificate. If you are a Colombian applying for a K1 visa, living in Colombia, and you're born and raised in Colombia, you don't need an Interpol police certificate. You get a Colombian police certificate. So if you are born and raised in Gambia, and your beneficiary is born and raised in Gambia, you don't need an Interpol police certificate. Ren S. Also, is there a fee for the I-134? No, it's free, totally free. The embassy will charge us when we upload the DS-160. No, the I-134 is a free form. The DS-160 is a free form. You're going to pay $165, I believe it is, for the visa process to emboss the K1 visa in the passport and process the package. Those people don't work for free, okay? We fund our own K1 visas. We, as in you guys and us, you fund the green card, the visas. Everything's funded by us, by the fees that we pay to the U.S. government, okay? It's not tax-based. You don't get a free ride from a taxpayer for your green card. You have to pay for it. So the DS-160 is free, the I-134 is free, but you do have to pay for the visa processing, which is $165, I believe, if I remember. Or it could be $265. I can't remember. I paid it in November. I should know that, right? Let me see here. So I answered that question. Queso Agnes, my fiance is divorced. Okay. But I have never been married. No problem. Do I need to go with the divorce certificate for my fiance for the interview? Yes. Oh, yes. It's required. Yeah, it's you being interviewed, Queso Agnes, and you are single, never married. Karina, single, never married, but I'm divorced. The first thing the immigration officer asked Karina was, let me have your sponsor's divorce decree. She went, here you go. And then he said, is it a certified copy from the courthouse? Yes, it is. And here's the business card of the clerk of the court, which was stapled to the bottom left-hand corner of the certified divorce decree. If you're a sponsor, if you are a beneficiary watching this channel or in the future, if your sponsor, a U.S. citizen sponsor, is divorced once, twice, 3 times, you must bring certified divorce decrees to the visa interview, because the immigration officer is going to want to see them. 1, 2, whatever the number is. You got to bring them. So, yes, you are required to bring your fiance's divorce decree, certified, original copy, to the visa interview. Elliot, was it easy to schedule the medical exam and biometrics in Bogota? Should I only schedule the medical exam after getting the interview date? What I did was I scheduled the biometrics and the interview once I paid the visa fee. Then I called Karina and I said, okay, I paid the visa fee. I've scheduled your visa interview for November 16th. I've scheduled your biometrics for November 9th. You need to go and schedule the medical exam on any day that's available between now and November 16th or November 15th. So she went downtown to Bogota and face-to-face, and they told her, well, we need your list of travelers email and we need your MVC welcome letter, which is the K1 FTP email. So if you are scheduling a medical exam, okay, in the United States, if you are, in Colombia, in Bogota, Colombia, if you're scheduling your medical exam in Bogota, Colombia, you must bring with you to the medical exam the secretary who does the scheduling, the list of travelers email, and the email for the K1 FTP, which is your welcome letter from the National Visa Center. They won't schedule your medical exam in Bogota without those 2 emails. It was easy with those 2 documents. And then you got to get the photos for the medical exam have to be 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. You got to make sure you get the right size passport photos for the medical exam. 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. Julian, ALO, RNOA 2 dated the 15th of December. I sent the inquiry the 15th of January, and the MVC sent me the case number. There you go. I checked the SEAC, and it's still at the MVC. Well, if the SEAC says it's at the MVC, then they're getting ready to mail it by plane, DHL courier airplane, to your beneficiary's home country. Now you're going to be waiting for in-transit and ready status. Ren S. And my lawyers, as the lawyer is filling it out. Well, if you hired an attorney to fill out an I-134, it's a very easy form. Okay, why did you do that? Why are you paying somebody to fill out this form? It's an easy form. And Larry Piercy, all divorces, yes. If you have been divorced 3 times, you must provide 3 divorce decrees, certified copies, to the immigration officer at the U.S. Embassy. Ren S. And the sample DS-160 shows that they want my fiance pic uploaded. Yeah, that's correct. I uploaded Karina's photo to the DS-160. It's very easy. Ren S. Due to bad net connection in Accra, Ghana, I will. Okay. Elliot, thank you, Diego. Dios te bendiga. Gracias. Thank you, Elliot. Ren S. I will be filling out the DS-160 instead of my fiance. You can do that, but just make sure. Now, are you the sponsor or the beneficiary? $265. That's what it is. It's $265 for the visa fee. I said $165. It's $265. Guys, it's late. It's almost midnight. You know, it's past my bedtime. It's $265 for the visa fee. And the sponsor can fill out the DS-160 for the beneficiary and help the beneficiary. especially if the beneficiary cannot speak English, because the DS-160 has to be filled out in English. You just make sure you tell the embassy on the DS-160 that you helped your beneficiary fill out the form. Okay? You got to do that. And then you're going to put your beneficiary's name at the bottom of the form. Don't put your name, Mr. Sponsor. Put your beneficiary's name. And that is an electronic signature that is accepted by the U.S. government and the U.S. State Department as a signature for the DS-160. Okay? KSO Agnes, thank you, Diego. No problem. Julian ALO, when we applied the I-129F, we put also the document of pregnancy from the doctor from the USA, just to put our case strong, like proof of relationship. That's fine. So the question is, we have a newborn now. Well, congratulations. Was the baby born in the United States, or was the baby born in a foreign country? Julian, what country was the baby born in? Joy in Flow. For the interview, I-134, can you sign electronically? Nope, they won't accept it. Cannot do that. The I-134 has to be signed by one of these things. Okay? Now, this in Spanish is a bolígrafo. Okay? I believe it's bolígrafo. Or in Venezuela, otro nombre. Okay. You sign the I-134 with this thing in black ink, and then you make sure you give the original I-134 to your beneficiary, signed in black ink and dated. An electronic signature on an I-134 will be rejected by the embassy. And then you'll go into a 221G holding pattern and administrative hold while you have to call your sponsor in America and say, I need an original I-134. Then he's going to have to refill it out, sign it and date it, ship it DHL courier or whatever. Then it has to go through customs. You know, Colombia, let's suppose you're in Colombia. If you send any paperwork through the mail, DHL, it has to go through customs. It could sit in customs for a week or 2 weeks before they clear it. Ren S, is the U.S. Embassy in Accra, Ghana moving at normal pace to offer interview slots? In Accra, Ghana, yeah. They're processing K1 visas at a normal pace. Julian, she was born in the USA. Now I can ask to send me also the birth certificate as proof of the relationship. That's exactly right. But when you send the birth certificate of your baby, when you get it, make sure, okay, that it's a certified copy. Not just don't just stick it on a Xerox machine. Get it certified, get it notarized. A birth certificate, you got if you got to get it as got to get it notarized. And that's a good idea to send that information of proof of the relationship. But remember this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you are pregnant, if your beneficiary, if she's pregnant, it does not speed up the K1 visa process. Okay? It shows proof of relationship. It strengthens the K1 visa. It strengthens the relationship at the visa interview, but it does not speed up the process. There is no such thing as a rapid visa or a fast visa or a quick visa. And look at all this Mountain Dew that Larry gave us. Larry hooked us up with Mountain Dew today. So congratulations on the baby, but don't be surprised, okay, if it doesn't speed up the process. Ren S, my job, which I started 2 months ago, isn't giving me the letter of employment easily. Even after I told them about my K1, they only have the offer letter, which was emailed, and all my check stubs is all I have. Then that will work. You're good. You can use that. And Joy in Flow. For the second letter of intent, who do I address the letter to for the interview? The embassy. Karina's first letter of intent to get married and my first letter of intent to get married was written and addressed to the USCIS lockbox in Louisville, Dallas, Texas. That was the first one. Our second letters of intent to get married were addressed to the U.S. Embassy visa section, Bogota, Colombia. Okay, and then I put the address underneath. I think it's Calle 45 or something like that. So the first letter of intent to get married is addressed to the USCIS lockbox in Louisville, Texas, who then forwards it to the service center in wherever, California, Texas, Nebraska, wherever. You don't know what service center the lockbox in Texas is going to send your K-1 visa to. You don't know. Although 93% go to California. So you address the letter of intent and you're good to the Louisville. Second one, you address to the embassy. Ren S., my lawyer says that's not good enough as immigration needs a letter from my job. Well, your lawyer is wrong, okay? Your immigration attorney is incorrect. You can use your pay stubs and you can use the offer letter, okay? And what you can do is write a letter to put behind the offer letter and say that you're a boss. This is all they can do with you right now because you've only been at the job for 2 months. You've only been there for 2 months, so they're only going to give you the offer letter. They're not going to give you. Must be still on a probationary period. Ren S., can my paycheck stubs and offer letter that was emailed be enough if I don't get the job letter that states my pay when I started or if I'm full or part-time? Yeah, you can do that. But the thing is this, right? You got to get bank statements showing your direct deposits also. Do you get direct deposit on your job? You have a job, you're working there for 2 months. Do you have 2 paychecks or maybe 4 paychecks that have been direct deposited into your bank? If you do, you need those bank statements and highlight those direct deposits. Okay? Julian, I have another question. Diego, my friend did the CR1. Okay, that's a spousal visa. After 4 years now, she went to do the interview and they approved her, but they asked her for a joint sponsor, so she wanted my help. Okay, well, obviously the income's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. It's not at a 125% plus. You got to have. My recommendation is if you make $3,000 or $4,000 above 125% for the green card. Now I'm talking about the embassy interview now. For the CR1, because when you process a CR1 visa, you're basically applying for the green card at the embassy, not at the lockbox in Chicago in the United States or Phoenix or wherever you live. Okay, so if you don't have sufficient income, if you don't make $3,000 or $4,000 above 125%, then get a joint sponsor. So the joint sponsor will be, providing all of the same financial documents. Tax returns, tax transcripts, pay stubs, bank statements, a letter from the boss, etc. Okay, where you work. Julian, my fiance is in the United States to help her, but my fiance asked me, we are in the process also. It will not disturb our process. Okay, if you are in a K-1 visa process right now, if your sponsor is in a K-1 visa process right now, that person should not be sponsoring somebody else as a joint sponsor. Don't do it. Immigration don't like that. You can only sponsor one person at a time. Okay? You can only sponsor one person at a time. So if your fiance is in the USA and you guys are going through a K-1 visa process, he cannot sponsor somebody else as a joint sponsor. Can't do it. You can only do one visa at a time. Okay? Will it disturb the process? Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a problem. So make sure you don't do that. Okay? All right, guys, I've been talking for an hour. It's almost midnight here in the Panhandle. Julian, thank you very much. We were about to help them to sign for the joint sponsor. Don't do it. Don't do that. Say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I'm already doing a K-1 visa. I can't be in 2 visas at the same time. Immigration will deny both of them. Sam Badella, isn't a problem if the second letter of intent to marry is addressed to the California Service Center? Well, what if they sent your visa package to the Texas Service Center? What if they sent it to Nebraska? The second letter. No, you don't do the second letter. Your second letter of intent to get married is for the embassy. Is it a problem? I don't know. The U.S. Embassy is going to look at it and go, what's, this isn't correct. It probably won't hurt your case. It probably won't deny you a visa, but it's not good. Okay. When you submit your second letter of intent to get married, you address the letter to the embassy. That's where you're going to be getting your K-1 visa adjudication is going to be at the embassy. All right. Not in California. So, redo the letters and address them to the embassy. Redo the letters. Joy and Flo, congrats to both of you on your union. I'm happy super for you. Well, thanks, Joy and Flo. And we want to see everybody here tonight hanging out with us. We want to see everybody here get their K-1 visas. We want to see you get approved. We want to see you come to America and start your lives over. Okay? But I'm going to cut it short here. I'll do another live stream. What day is it today? KD? It's jueves? Okay. So tomorrow's Friday. Well, it's Friday already.
Yes.
And then Saturday night, I'll be back. See you guys on Saturday night at 6 p.m. Julian, thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Some of us in Africa are happy.
Mm-hmm.
We love our friends in Africa. Okay? If you're in Africa, we send you a salute. We send you our best wishes from the United States of America. We wish you a quick processing for your K-1 visas or your spousal visas. And remember this, if you are in a K-1 visa process, okay, Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, you cannot sponsor somebody else as a joint sponsor. You can't do it. You can't do it. See you guys on Saturday.